Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Para OR Normal Guyz. Sportcat here. I'm joined by some of my regular co-hosts tonight. We've got a treat for you. We have a producer from a Hollywood movie. We're moving up in the world. So Trip is here, and he's going to explain his work on the production set of a movie that is kind of close to my heart as a firefighter. And hopefully it'll be yours too. The 9 o'clock or the 10 o'clock hour, we're supposed to have another guest. I'm not sure if he's going to make it. And then I have some breaking Bigfoot news. So we're going to get this show started. Let's see who we have hiding back here. We have the wonderful and beautiful Nikki, and we have Dina, and then we have Trip. All right. It's a full house. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm real happy to be chatting with you all tonight.
Cool.
Thank
So,
you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you got going on. And I know you have more than just one movie. I kind of pulled up your IMDb. You got a string of things you do. So
yeah, well, okay. So I spent the better part of the last 6 years working on this film called Elemental: Reimagine Wildfire, and it came out in the summer, and just it was the type of summer where you release a film, and I wish that it wasn't topical, because what we're talking about is a lot of people, a lot of homes catching on fire, and how to prevent that, right? And shortly after the release, the tragedy in Lahaina in Hawaii happened, and I just we'd shown the film in a bunch of places in Hawaii earlier in the season, and I just thought, oh my gosh, like that you couldn't have gotten everybody to do the things to their homes or whatever to prevent some of the loss, but my heart just went out to the folks there, and I just really, it made me really want to make sure as many people as possible can see our film, because the threat of wildfire is real, and it's growing, and the losses from wildfires have been stacking up more and more over the last handful of years. And so it's an interesting time to release the film, and the rest of my work is also on climate and extreme weather. I work with PBS, and I produce a show called Weathered, which is kind of like trying to understand this moment in how extreme weather is changing and how we can prepare for it in our homes and communities, because there's so much we can do to keep yourself safe. And so that's really kind of like what my work centers around. And Elemental was this like long sort of longer format dive into one of the issues specifically. So yeah, thanks for having me on and getting to talk about it a bit.
Hey, no problem. I took the liberty. I pulled up. This is just before airtime. I pulled this up from the what is it? Wildlife, National Wildlife, or I don't know. It's the site where you can go and see where all the fires are burning. Yeah. I should know this as a firefighter.
Good. National Wildlife.
Yeah, it's one of those fire thingies. We're firemen. We're not good at maps. We see red stuff. We put water on it. Yeah. This is the current what's burning. The brightest is the red is the obviously the larger ones, and the yellow ones that you see here have just been reported and started within the past 24 hours. And then the lighter ones over here are ones that have been burning, and they are still not under control, but they're not as large as they were. So yeah, you can see.
It was a crazy summer too. If you zoomed that out to the rest of North America over the summer, we saw the number of acres burned in Canada was just unbelievable. I mean, their previous record was like around 20 million acres, and 42 million acres burned in Canada, doubling the record year. I mean, it's been a crazy fire year.
Sure. And there is in the certain parts of the country, the South and I'm not sure, but I'm probably going to guess a large portion of the West Coast, there's not a real off season to this either.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, Oregon has, we have some reprieve because we got a very rainy winter, and so does Washington. But if you look at Southern California on this map, I mean, you can see all these new fires, like you were saying, the red flames surrounded by yellow are new fires, right? And so this is kind of prime season in Southern California because they get the Santa Ana winds and the winds that start on the east and blow towards the coast. And as they blow downhill, they get warmer and they get drier. And that's when you get a lot of fires. It just takes a little ignition, a little spark to create something that can be really destructive. And then it's really interesting to look at these in like Kentucky and North Carolina. I'm less familiar with the fire seasons out there because I live in Oregon, but there have been some very significant fires. Gatlinburg in I think 2016, very huge fire, and the season is so different, right? Because it hasn't gotten wet yet, even though I don't really think of fire in this season as being so prevalent. But I mean, look at all those new fires in Kentucky. Jeez.
Yeah,
Right, I can't believe how close it is, truthfully, to where I'm at in Columbus.
Where are you?
That's very eye-opening, Columbus, Ohio.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Okay.
right between. Sorry, Nikki. I'm right between.
You're
right
in the
between those fires. Right
yeah,
there.
you're right in there somewhere.
Yeah, right in there.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so you're in the valley, so yeah.
Yeah.
They just had a huge one out by Mom in Knoxville, and I think it burned 20 some acres before they managed to get it under control.
Yeah.
Now I'm down here in Atlanta, but the Northeast Georgia is really just lighting off, and we're in a drought here. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that what a drought it is for us in Georgia. But I'm sure it's probably got to do with our population and stuff, but
Yeah.
there's it's still a lot of dry, very dry areas, and down around the metro Atlanta where I'm a firefighter, we didn't have too many of these. Luckily, now when I was in Knoxville, we had quite a few wildfires, and Trip, I got to tell you, that's probably, as a firefighter, one of the hardest fires you can fight because you don't. I mean, the weather dictates it. If it gets large enough, it makes its own weather. And then the wind. I mean, just the wind is such a variable.
I mean, and that's, we're, as a sort of like a reporter in the climate space and a producer and director in this space, I'm thinking more and more of this kind of these large destructive fires. I mean, what we know about them is so many of them are wind driven, right? And so I think of them more like as a wind event that has fire, that has a spark, that has fire in it, right? And that's what we saw in Lahaina, was this extreme wind event in 2020. That was the last big fire year out here in Oregon. We had this massive, sort of 100-year wind event. And when we see those heavy winds, they create their own sparks as trees fall on power lines. And that's so often what the ignition is. What's at least in the West Coast, I wonder, do you know what the primary ignition is in the Southeast like that? Is it also wind on power lines, or are you seeing a lot of
you get a lot of that, and you get a lot of storms too. That's more traditional during the summer.
Right.
But even this time of year, we've experienced some thunderstorms, so it's not out of the norm. Yeah, and the weird thing about the Northeast Georgia mountains, their rainfall normally is almost equivalent to what a rainforest is. So you don't think about it because of all the rain, but you have the runoff. I mean, there's so many other factors involved, and then it dries up so quick, especially to higher elevations. So, and then, like you said, the wind. And it's another thing a lot of people don't realize, how far a spark will actually carry. I mean, an ember.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we first were imagining doing this film back in 2017, there was a big fire called the Eagle Creek Fire in Oregon. And we were just thinking about okay, so how do wildland firefighters fight wildland fires? Well, you're mostly creating a fire line around it. When it gets really big, you're trying to dig down to mineral soil. I don't need to tell you this, but dig down to mineral soil so that the fire can't progress because it doesn't have anything to burn. And during that Eagle Creek fire, the fire actually jumped across the Columbia River almost 2 miles across one of the largest bodies of water in the Northwest. And
wow.
Yeah, and lit a mountain on fire across the river. So, when you think about basically our most effective tactic, right, as humans to stop a wildfire moving, you can't create a fire line bigger than the Columbia River, and you can't,
Right.
and you can't make anything less burnable than basically a mile of river down there. So when the fires get really going, what I keep hearing from firefighters is you're really just shifting to trying to get people out of there and maybe fighting fire in neighborhoods, right? Trying to keep fire off of houses if you can.
Yeah. That's one thing about fire is if it's going to burn if it gets away from you.
It's going to free burn, you mean?
Yeah, free burn. If it gets in the trees, embers get in the trees or they float on the wind, there's nothing you can do really to stop it unless you maybe go water from the air.
Yeah, and even then, there's this. I just always think of this quote from one of the air ops, one of the pilots from LA County Fire Department, who said, when you get so much wind that you're dropping water and it's barely even hitting the ground, it's just dissipating into the wind.
Exactly.
What are you doing other than taking on a lot of risk, right? Because there's a lot of risk to firefighters for being in the air, and especially in terrain like mountains where a lot of it is burning, and in such extreme winds. So
it's just going to spread out to nothing.
Yeah, right. And that's where we really
And that's
win.
what I liked about you, Trip, was that you discussed that concept of that we're kind of doing it an old way, and we need to kind of reevaluate how we're approaching this situation.
Yeah, I think, I think firefighters from all of the research that I'm doing, all of the papers, right, that I've read, y'all are doing amazing work. Firefighting has been extremely effective, and it still is, right? We've gone up orders of magnitude in the amount of acres burned, and sadly the amount of homes burned in the United States per year in wildfires. But the decrease in success of initial attack has only dropped just slightly, like less than 1%, right? Like it's 97% of fires are put out at initial attack. And that's extremely impressive, So our film is not in the least bit like, we shouldn't be firefighting in the way that we are or whatever, because it's, it's a very important work. But what we, in showing the film and in talking to firefighters, especially after it, we get a lot of people saying, hey, thank you for communicating the limits of what we can do. Because it's hard for firefighters. We keep hearing from firefighters, it's hard to go out there and say, hey, there's limits to what we can do, right?
Right.
We have so much trust and gratitude, for firefighters and trust in them. And I think that there is an expectation. I certainly had it before getting deep into this subject, that the firefighters will come and put wet stuff on the red stuff and we'll be safe, right?
Right.
But as we've been talking about, when that wind gets strong, when you get enough acres burning, when you get that tree-to-tree ignition, fire trees crowning, it's just not going to happen. And so that's where what we were looking at is, okay, so how do we sort of help firefighters out? How do we help ourselves out? What do we do in the off season, when there is an off season, when fires are not burning? To make ourselves safer in peak fire season and fire weather. And that's, I mean, there's so much good research into that, and there's so much potential. And it's not like all of the things that we can do aren't just, major expensive renovations to our homes, right? Some of the stuff, a lot of the most effective stuff, the stuff we can do in a weekend project. We can really, I think, meaningfully change the ignitability of our homes, in a few weekends before fire season starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much good new research too that's coming out with the sort of most effective, best interventions to do. The one that I think is the most interesting, the kind of funniest, right? Not funniest, but like quirky in terms of like our relationship to our homes, is this idea that you need a 5-foot non-combustible perimeter around your house, right?
Mm.
And that is actually one of the most important things you can possibly do. It's not just, it's not like you need to have a wall that's completely fireproof or your house built out of metal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Similar construction to what we currently have, but put that 5-foot perimeter. But like, people don't want to get rid of their flower beds, right?
Yeah.
But don't we all have, so many people, we have our flower beds, our garden beds right up against the house, and then we have a walkway, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it look just as good if we just flipped the relationship there? If your walkway was right next to your house and your flower bed was just 5 feet away. So it's that kind of thing that that we're really trying to underscore how important it is. Get rid of brush and dry weeds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I grew up in Washington, D.C., and the first fire department I had experience with was in Fairfax, Virginia, just outside of D.C. And we didn't have a lot of brush fires, but I remember even as a child, I'm guessing because my family grew up in the Appalachia, my grandmother, every time, well, of course, the leaves are much heavier up there and drier. Every time the leaves would get heavy, she'd be like, all right, get out there and rake those leaves away from the house. I don't want anything touching the house. And she's like, keep them 5 feet away. And I mean, granted, my grandfather and my uncle were both firefighters, but my grandmother was the one with the broomstick chasing us around to do it. So so she learned it from somewhere, and it is, you're right. It is simple enough to do. So
we need that. We need more of those grannies. I mean,
yeah.
And you know what I thought was really cool? Okay, so thinking about that, right? We did a lot of work with and filmed a lot with the Yurok tribe in Northern California, and in showing this, we've worked with a lot of Native folks in a whole bunch of different communities. And one of the things that stories we heard was just like, oh yeah, we'll have family over for whatever holiday, Thanksgiving, and there's always some uncle that's like, oh, you got too much brush up against the house, and so they'll rake it out and they'll burn it right up to the house, burn it, right, and then it's Christmas, I'm back, and there's always some other uncle who's like, okay, we're gonna do it again, and it's like this, it's just part of the routine, and it's fun, and the whole family is involved, and I don't think that people are going to be doing the same. That's a culture that has been practicing cultural burning for safety and for resource production and all sorts of things. So I don't think everybody in the suburbs, of LA, for example, are going to like burn burn their yards.
Come get you. They'd probably come and
that's right.
Like
they don't like that.
Out.
They don't like that. But I mean, what an amazing, sort of way to keep your home and your family safe is just like, oh yeah, you got cranberries on the table. Well, let's do some raking and some burning.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that part of the movie because as destructive as fire is, it's really good for the land, to renew it.
Yeah. I mean, and fire is, as a few of the experts that we talked to said, fire's been a part of every major terrestrial, Earth ecosystem since anywhere that there's fuel, right, on planet Earth has some fire interval.
Right.
and some of them are really long, right? Like New England, for example, it's just up there showing the film. And even though there's starting to be more and more fire up there, and people are, I think, taken a bit by surprise. But I mean, even there, with a long, like hundreds of years fire return interval, it's still part of the landscape, and it's always been. And so, yeah, I mean, I think we're starting to see in some places, we're starting to see way more fire than a lot of ecosystems can handle. I was just in Alaska reporting on filming with some permafrost experts who have been specifically looking at what happens to permafrost, the ground that's been frozen for tens of thousands of years, after fire comes through and burns the trees and creates an unprotected permafrost area, right? So it's interesting. I mean, fire is so complex, right? Fire is not, there's almost no blankets about fire. It just is, right?
Right.
It is the thing. But so much of it, especially in the West, and certainly the Southeast, those ecosystems were born in fire, and they need that fire to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And we need them to have some amount of fire to stay safe, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think here in the Southeast, we don't see it as much. I mean, Gatlinburg's experienced it, about 6 years ago, and that was a complete travesty. I actually had friends that were in the fire department up there, and
oh wow,
there was literally, and for a firefighter, when you pull up on a burning building, and this is one thing I wanted to point out too, when you pull up on a burning building, your first thing is, well, I've got to stop this, defeat the dragon, slay the dragon, however you want to say it. And our tactics have been the same for so many years. Firemen are slow learners. We don't like change. But, well, no, I'm being honest. It is true. No. And so when you see a fire of that massive size, you are overwhelmed yourself. And we all know, well, I don't guess we all know, but, there's only so much, even if you do get the water, you have to have enough water to cool the fire. Once it gets so large, you're best, the old saying, surround and drown. Well, no, surround it and let it burn itself out is the only real thing to do.
Right. Just make sure everybody gets out.
And so, I learned this when I was fighting forest fires in Tennessee. I did not know that a fire could burn under the ground from a forest fire, but they will go through root structure and cross that fire line. I never knew that until I went up on the woods and took the class with the guys. So
crazy.
Every year in Oregon, I mean, we are in a real actual rainforest, right? Like we're in a temperate rainforest in Oregon. Things grow quickly and there's a lot of rain. And every time there's a big fire in the summer or the fall, you'll see restarts in the spring because that fire has been burning for 6 months, 4 months, 5 months, whatever it is, underground in the root structures. And then as soon as there's a dry day and there's some wind, you'll see some smoke columns just poking up from that fire 6 months ago. And that blows my mind because a lot of times it's also under snow. We'll see high elevation places. I mean, it's kind of unbelievable.
It is. It's just weird.
It makes sense too when you go into those spaces and you see the roots that have burned out, because you'll see after a fire you'll see the land level, and then you'll see where there was a tree that roots burned, and it's just it's a giant hole, so it takes a long time for that to burn, but it still boggles my mind that it's possible.
Yeah, it does.
So is that how a lot of fires start, like when you don't even realize that they're starting? Like my daughter was in California. She was literally looking out the window, and it's on the side of the freeway, so how they have the steps that come up and stuff so that they can do that. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a fire started, and it got like super big, and it was right out from her house where she was. And I'm just like freaking out, like, oh my God, where did it, how?
Yeah, I mean, that happens less in Southern California because you're dealing with chaparral with smaller root structures.
Yeah.
The plants have smaller root structures, but there are so many sources, right? I mean, some of the larger fires in California were started by, for example, just a car towing a trailer with chains that are a little bit too low, just dangling a little bit too low, right? And that creates a little spark. Spark flies off into the dry brush, and it might take an hour for it to, slowly smolder, and then all of a sudden take off, right?
Yeah, that's
so,
what
I
it
mean,
was. Like you saw this line,
but a
and then
lot,
it was
a
a
lot of fires are started by power lines.
Yeah.
Cigarettes, of course, that's going away more and more. But cigarettes, unattended fires, and I mean, in Atlanta, we burned a bridge down. I mean, think about that.
Oh, my.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was what, 4 years ago. It was a homeless camp underneath of 85, and an unattended fire got out of control, and there was a large fire load, but GDOT, Georgia Department of Transportation, also stored a bunch of some kind of fiber optic cables for something they were doing, and they're petroleum based, and it was dry. And once it got into them, it was the heat that caused the overpass to collapse. So fire can do some crazy things, and that was just the fire. We used to joke at the firehouse. Everybody comes up to you, "Oh, Mr. Fireman, how'd the fire start?" Well, it was a flame about that high. That's what we always tell them, and that was the truth of the matter. And that's because it was just an unattended homeless campfire that caught a wildfire, that caught the shed on fire. That Atlanta Fire had no idea that they stored that much stuff in. Illegally, I might add. It's government; they can do that, and so it caused that much, and it was in less than 30 minutes.
Wow, was it a concrete bridge?
Yeah. It was a modern overpass. Yeah, it was a flyover from 85 to I guess that would be 75 there, and
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think Kat makes a good point too with the generational repercussions that happen from it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
that's a real good point.
Yeah,
it takes so long.
Oh, in Concow Valley, yeah. Well, so that's the Concow Valley is right outside of Paradise, which was featured in our film Paradise, California. And there was a PG&E tower that it had some components on it that were from the 50s, and so they're well overdue for maintenance and replacement. But that started a fire that burned 18,000 structures leveled the whole town of Paradise, and it's featured in the film. And we when it comes to the Paradise specifically, that happened in 2018, and we thought, okay, it's still a good example. It's an older example in a way now, right? But it's still the sort of most extreme. And we were just the whole time just thinking, I hope that's the worst, right? I hope that maybe maybe it's downhill from, maybe we're going to get a little bit better. And then Lahaina happened, and I just hearing the stories of evacuation from Paradise, it was difficult to hear. I mean, it was, it's people just losing everything. But that increased layer of complexity, that half of the sort of direction, half of the, one side of the whole town of Lahaina is ocean, to complicate evacuation was just, it was hard to see, and it was hard to imagine. And it just underscores the fact that you gotta think about fire in the off season. You gotta think about fire before it comes, before it happens, both for evacuation and preparing homes and communities. And I'm just looking at the U.S. Drought Monitor map, and I'm a little surprised to see that Louisiana, and then that same red band of drought goes all the way up to Georgia, like you were saying, Alabama, and Tennessee. That's the most drought, the most extreme drought in the country right now.
Yeah, we hadn't had a lot of rain this year.
Yeah. And California has just swung the other direction now, right? It's
Yeah.
I mean, it's first year in 20 that we haven't seen any drought colors on
Mhm.
California right now. So
Yeah, it's kind
I
of
guess
opposite.
that's right. But amazing. I mean, still, still so much potential for fire in Southern California, even though they're not in drought, with the east winds coming out of the mountains.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well,
We get a lot of the winds coming up around, well, I guess in Knoxville and Atlanta, around the Appalachian Mountains, and they swirl,
Yeah.
and that makes such a big difference too when they swirl around. I mean, it's not tornadic, but it's certainly enough when you're fighting a fire to cause a huge problem.
Right.
yeah, unpredictable winds like that are so dangerous.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought it was so interesting. I mean, we think of, we so often we call wildfires forest fires, right?
Yeah.
And we sort of just like think of them as forest fires. But a statistic that I thought was surprising is that more firefighters are injured or killed by grass fires than any other fuel type. And part of it, I think, is because it is so unpredictable, like you were talking about with the winds,
Yeah.
swirling sort of almost tornadic winds, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Well,
remember one of the very first brush fires I fought. I was inexperienced. I was a rookie. I didn't know what I was doing, and we had pulled the line to behind a trailer to where it came down the side of the ridge, and we could hear it coming. I mean, we could hear the fire coming, and I was like, "Well, we got a couple choices here," and I made the stupid decision to just dig in and see what we could do. And I don't know if I got lucky or the wind shifted, but I turned around and looked, and everybody else was gone. so maybe, yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe I was just lucky or what, but yeah, you could hear it coming down the ridge like a freight train.
Oh yeah,
goodness.
yeah. The first time I experienced that was with the Kincaid fire north of San Francisco, and it just north of Santa Rosa, and it was a fascinating. It was just a fascinating setup, right? Because there was a pretty big wind, pretty big fire, pretty big acreage. I think it was like 10,000 acres. So not huge by California standards, but plenty of like momentum. And then the wind cut off for like 24 hours. And so the firefighters came in and built a lot of fire line around it with a forecast of wind coming, I believe it was like Saturday night at midnight. And so I was just standing there with a long lens shooting down into this valley where the fire was still burning, waiting for the wind to come. And as soon as the wind hit, we could start to feel the gust. It went from almost zero to gusting of like 20 or 30, and then got very strong, even more than that. And you could just hear it turn on. It was like someone turned on a giant stove as soon as the wind hit.
Oh, wow.
Not just the wind, but you could hear, even though the fire was a mile away, more than a mile away, you could hear that roar, right?
Scary.
It took 20 minutes to blow over every fire line that had been put in over the last 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, because it was gusting of like 60 miles an hour,
Yeah.
so it was a serious wind event.
And we just dig in and go back and do it again. So
well, and then it turned into quite a firefight in the neighborhoods, in the suburban neighborhoods there. But someone was asking about advice for people in fire-prone areas. Yeah, I mean, I would love to just, I can't say enough times, think about, if you're in a fire-prone area, think about what you can do to your home on your own or with a little bit of help in the, when there's not a fire, right? So we talked about that 5-foot perimeter around your house. Next easiest thing is almost every house has vents in the attic, or if you don't have an attic, in the crawl space above the top floor. And those vents are designed so that they suck cooler air in from the sides, and then it goes out the vents on the top. And it's great. It takes care of moisture. It's important for your home. But as soon as your attic starts heating up, if there's a fire nearby, it's just sucking air into the attic. And so often what happens is the ember gets sucked into, a inch or 2-inch hole, and burns your house down from the attic, from the inside out. And so for $10, you can get 1/8 or smaller metal mesh, and you just put it right over those vents, right? So, I mean, those are two huge things you can do that cost almost nothing, a little bit of sweat, and really significantly increase the safety of your home. The next things they get more complicated, right? Multi-pane windows are very important. Because of course, we're talking about wind events that create really dangerous fires. And what else does wind do? Well, it blows branches out of trees, or it blows, things around in your yard. So if one cracked pane, can let embers in the house and burn the thing down from the inside out as well. Pet doors even can be dangerous in fires as they blow open. And so it's not necessarily, most people have Class A roofs already. Most people have asphalt roof. That's the cheapest thing. And it's great. It lasts you for 20, 30 years. And that's very fireproof. It's fireproof enough. It's the exposed stuff. It's exposed wood from a dormer window or something like that, where debris builds up and then burns. So I think a lot of people get a little focused on some of the big, expensive, big ticket items when there's so much to do in the yard. And it's also, clearing downed and debris, dead debris in your yard a little farther from the house. But that first 5 feet is the most important thing.
Absolutely. Bird's nests, that's one. And you're talking about windows, having something inside the window that reflects back, whether it's your on or blinds or something. A lot of people don't realize that fire will transfer through glass almost. It's I won't say simultaneously, but the heat transfer is so quick if it's dry inside. Most of the things inside of our houses now are made of petroleum, so that doesn't help. So, yeah, and what you put around the windows too is another thing. If with the windows, if you don't have some way of pushing it back out of the window. So
yeah, there's some fire shutters as well that have been designed, which are great. So if you don't have multi-pane windows, do fire shutters. I think people also get really focused on the siding, and siding is relatively important, right? If you have cedar plank, cedar shingles, that's your most dangerous siding possible. It is. But hardy plank, it doesn't have to be super expensive, right? You don't have to have masonry. You don't have to have some sort of a new innovative product necessarily, right? Hardy plank isn't necessarily, it's not super cheap, but it's one of the cheaper siding materials and is great for fire resistance. But even wood that's well cared for, well painted,
yes,
not, it's just in good repair. That's not really where you're getting the flame contact, right? Like if you do that 5 foot perimeter, and sometimes they'll say pull up your bottom siding boards, so you have at least 6 to 10 inches of non-combustible, like flashing or something like that, can really help. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to do there, but also knowing your evacuation routes, I think, are really important if you are in a community that's in a place that's, if you're not like in a suburban neighborhood, or if you are in a suburban neighborhood and it's, there's only a few ways out, knowing what those ways out are. Oh, go bags are.
It's a great question.
Great question. Yeah. I did an episode for the PBS show I produce called Weathered, where we go over a bunch of go bag stuff, right? But mud bricks don't burn. There is some really cool new version of an old idea that people are researching, specifically mud bricks compacted that are very low energy needed to create them. And they're very fire resistant, and they can be made out of so often like the soil that's on site in a house. I think that's, and so what people are doing is really testing, like, okay, so how big of a structure can you build? Let's rate these, right? Let's like figure out the strength of how we build these, and that, I think that's actually going to be a really interesting new potential building material. So I said maybe you don't. I'm contradicting myself because I said you don't need to worry about the siding too much. But that's what I'm excited about. I think that's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
In ways, right? And like it's relearning how to use them, right, and how we apply them to this context that we live in now.
Absolutely. KG was saying in Virginia, out of control fires in Madison County, Shenandoah National Park, 45 miles from his house, and can smell smoke. And they've already declared a state of emergency. Wow.
Yeah, it's when we started making the film, we knew about Gatlinburg, and we were just trying to decide like how much do we include outside of the West, right? Because the big fires tend to be in the West. But as we've been showing it, I mean, there were way more fires than normal in New England this summer. The Pine Barrens, New Jersey. There's been as we get. I'm going to say a real nerdy thing here, but so as the climate warms, right? So for every degree of warming we get, the air can hold 7% more moisture. And what that means is that the dry periods can get drier and the wet periods can get wetter. And they can be farther in between those two things. And I think a lot of people are starting to experience that and live that, right? I mean, when it rains, it pours. It's kind of the logic there, right? And so more and more places we are seeing just bigger gaps between wet times. And when the wet times are wet, they're even wetter, right? I mean, we saw huge landslides and floods a couple summers ago and all over Appalachia. So anyway, I think it is important. Like we need to be thinking about wildfire, and it doesn't need to be something that we stay up at night worrying about all the time. It needs to be something that we just learn the things we do to our home. We do it every year. We clean our gutters. We clean the 5 feet around our home. When we're doing a renovation, we think about wildfire. So that it's not like too difficult of an expense. It's something you're incorporating into your daily life, right? And we move on, and we have safer homes and communities.
Yeah. And like I said, know your emergency routes, exits. That's a big one. In the go bag, she was asking about what to keep in there. I think Homeland or DHS has recommendations for each part of the country we're in. I mean, you should obviously think about during whatever time of year it is, sheltering in place. So what you would need to survive in the elements. So yeah, those type of things, portable radio. They don't make a portable FM radio hardly anymore, but they really should. A NOAA weather radio is a great thing. All the Radio Shacks burned down, I guess. But yeah, the other things you can do, flashlight, some way of getting water. But the big thing, know your way out. In areas where that you may have to pack and go real quick, think about things you want to take with you, your valuables. And most people that don't think about, and I hear it so many times on house fires, did you save the pictures? They weren't worried about the jewelry. They weren't worried about the clothes. They were worried about the pets and the photographs. So make sure to take your pet. That's a big thing. Yeah, because they can't survive in a forest fire or wildfire.
And one of the best tips that I got was from actually fire chief's wife, who had been evacuated, I think 4 times in one summer.
Wow.
In Northern California. And so I was like, oh yeah, what's your biggest tip for when people are leaving? And she said, just grab your dirty clothes bin on the way out, because that's the clothes that you like to wear the most. They're all in one place, and it's easy to grab. So grab your valuables. Maybe grab your go bag with your prescriptions, with a flashlight, with just some of the things that you need. Because evacuating, the easier and the less painful it is, it's always painful. But but the easier we can make it, the easier it is to sort of do early and make sure you actually can do it. So yeah. Anyway, boy, try not to evacuate with nothing on your, with no extra clothes, right? Try to evacuate with something to wear. Grab your critters,
And
grab
that's
your
why-
prescriptions.
Take your dirty draws.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I think it's good advice.
That's why I love that it's coming back up. That's
Yep.
why I love that it's coming back up, because like I'm 52, and the last thing I've heard about fire safety stuff was Smokey the Bear. So that's been
wow.
like, 30, 40 years now that we've had the same information, and we know that there are certain things, but nobody's restating it again. Like, hey, we need to, pay attention here, because there's a lot of lives being lost, property, like, generational stuff, like Kat was saying, so that's what I loved about it the most, was your message, that it's bringing it all back right up into all of our faces that haven't even talked about it for years. Like, I didn't even have, my kids knew stop, drop, and roll stuff, but there was no secured plans in place. Like, we even went over an escape plan, but we never practiced. We never, it was just words. So I love that you're bringing the message back out.
Yeah. And, someone just made a comment about older folks waiting for evacuation in their homes. And I think that I think a go bag is really important. I have a go bag. I live in the city in Oregon. Our most likely natural disaster to really need supplies for is a big earthquake. It's going to happen at some point. So my go bag is actually a go shed.
Okay.
And we
Put
have
it on your back.
So we have 2 weeks worth of water. We have 2 weeks worth of food. I have a toddler, so we have in that shed we have a kind of like a dry box with clothes for all of us, because our house could fall down in the middle of winter, and so could a million other houses around us, right? So I want to make sure my family is safe. So specific to the disaster, right, is how we've started to plan. But I think that the other thing that is really important to get out there is your most important resource is also your friends and your community in that situation, right? So, and this is true about heat waves. We hear all the time about heat waves as well. But knowing your neighbors and having your neighbors know you is it's invaluable, right? It's so if no one knows to check on you, if you're home alone, even if you're not home alone, right? You want to know that someone is going to be thinking about you in a disaster. So bring the next door neighbors cookies and say hi, and discuss the resources that you have and that you can share in a disaster. Because the first person who made the comment is correct. A lot of older people died in their homes in Paradise.
Yeah.
And people were understandably freaking out because the fire was coming quickly. But, we have a couple of older folks living across the street from us at our house, and we talk to them about it all fairly often, kind of in a almost a weird number of times, just like, okay, well, if there's a disaster, we'll come check on you. Same as if there's a heat wave, right? People, I think so often people just don't know that there's resources even just right next door. And so a lot of people get real afraid of, if there's a disaster, the looters are going to come, right? And the statistics are so clear. People get so nice. People get so helpful and just exhibit socially positive behavior during a disaster. And it warms my heart to think about that humans in disaster, crime goes down actually post-disaster. And that's not even just true for short-term disasters. Even after the tsunami in Indonesia in 11? I can't remember. Crime went down for a year and stayed down for a whole year, right, post-disaster as people were recovering. So the people around you, they're going to help you survive.
And we don't know our neighbors like we used to. I mean, just from a few years ago, it's changed so much with the culture of stuff. Everybody wants to stay to themselves. So, yeah, that's a big thing. And I couldn't tell you how many times we get on house fires and we're like, the neighbors are standing out there. They called 911. I'm like, do you know if anybody's home? Because we're going to risk our life to go in here and see. it would be nice if we had a little heads up. Yeah, they'll be in that front bedroom, or no, they're probably gone to New Orleans or whatever. So
Well, what a great way to introduce yourself to your neighbors right now. I mean, what a more positive message could it be, to even people who might be closed off and you would never talk to, just say, hey, I have this kooky fire plan and I just thought I'd run it by you and let you know that I'm watching out for you too. It's a great way to get the conversation started. Like I said, it's so old now. People don't even think about talking about 5 feet from their door planting their flowers instead of right by underneath their windows. Yeah, perfect.
Just talking about the weather. Talk about the weather with your neighbors is as old as any conversation's ever been, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
for real.
Well, Trip, we could keep you here all night, and I know you want to go feed the toddler, but I asked you, I was going to say, if you have a paranormal story for us, a Bigfoot story, something you want to share, we always ask all of our guests that. I mean, that's kind of why we are the Paranormal Guys. So if you got something you'd like to share, we'd love to hear it.
I wish I had a specific, like, my own experience, but I'll tell you, I seem to really attract people with good Bigfoot stories. And I think maybe it's just because I go to places where there's a lot of Bigfoot sightings, right? Like I live in Oregon, Washington's, I think, the capital, right? And there's a bunch of folks in Alaska. So my most fun and interesting, I think, one of those experiences was just, I was in a car with a researcher who, a scientist he's been doing ecological research mostly, a lot of fire stuff, but plant communities, super smart guy. He's been a research scientist for 30 years. And we happened to be in the car for a long time because we were driving around burned areas, and he was just like, what do you think about Bigfoot? And I was like, well, and before I could even say anything, he's like, let me tell you my theory. And I was like, okay. And he is a well-published scientist in scientific journals, and he is just basically like, I think it's possible. And he spent a couple of hours in the car telling me why. And I was like, yeah, okay. So this guy spends a lot of time out here doing research and deeply believes that there could be a human-sized, species that we only see sometimes. And I haven't seen Bigfoot. I've spent a lot of time out in the wildlands, and I always, here's my thing, is people are like, what if you see a cougar? What if you see a bear? And I'm like, man, that's a lucky day. I want to see a bear. I want to see a cougar. I love anytime you see a big mammal like that. That's great. So if Bigfoot's watching, I just want you to know I'm down. Yeah. I'm ready. I don't even have to
watch what you're asking for, Trip.
Hey, and look, I'll just put it out there right now. I don't even care about filming. I don't care. Look, Bigfoot, if you don't want your picture taken, fine by me. That's fine. We can just chill by the fire.
Well, there's a lot about intuition, so go out with an open mind. Whenever we've went out looking for Bigfoot, and we used to, when we were much younger, to say, oh, we're going to go hunt Bigfoot. Well, you don't really hunt something like that. You only hunt for something you're going to eat. So when we went out looking for Bigfoot, we didn't have a lot of luck, but we discovered if we went out with good intent and we just went camping, a lot of times around the campfire, we're the entertainment for a large bipedal creature that's bored out in the woods, and they want to see what the hairless one's doing. And I've had rocks thrown. We've had rocks thrown at us. We've been hit by rocks, pine cones, and stuff. There's like no way this thing could have come slung across, open field and just whack one of us in the side of the head. And we're like, okay, that's funny. So unless there's some strong raccoons, but. So go out with a good intention, and you never know. So if you do have an encounter, Trip, please come back and visit us.
Oh yeah, I will give you a call. You'll be among the first for sure.
Hey, I'll fly out there and be like, Trip, let's go in the woods.
But I did say, I'm not guaranteeing a photo.
Oh no!
Well, I don't. No, nobody's had a lot of luck with that since the '60s, and which is amazing. We all carry around a 4K camera in our pocket now. So, but
maybe it's just you guys don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned about what I do, the Angel Advocate Project, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
You may not see it like you're wanting to see it. It doesn't mean that it's not watching you.
That's right. Well, that's
It's
certainly
true.
true about cougars, right?
Oh yeah,
Right,
cougar.
right.
Cougar will sneak up on you. I have had one cougar experience in my life, and I was at my mom's house in the mountains, and I was on a back porch inside a chain link fence, and I saw it up the street under a street light, and I was like, okay, that's too close. I'm going in.
Right.
So,
But
Trip,
I mean,
tell
how many times they've been much closer than that, and just watching you.
never knew it. Yeah,
Yeah.
never knew it.
Well, and like I was talking about that predator type vision where, you know, you can see something, but you're not quite sure because there's been quite a few photos that have been captured that, you know, you can see this off place in it. Like people just haven't really been looking at the photos properly. So we might have to explore more about that.
Absolutely. So tell us, Trip, where can we find the movie? Where can we find you? What do you got going on soon? All that stuff.
So the film is called Elemental, Reimagine Wildfire. It's on a lot of the streaming platforms. Amazon is probably the easiest. It's on Google as well. Check it out on Amazon. And let's see what. Oh yeah, you can find me on kind of all of the socials. Trip Jennings Video is my Instagram handle, and just Trip Jennings on Twitter or X, I guess. And so yeah, come check me out. I am traveling. So I'm like traveling almost probably 3 out of 4 weeks these days. I'm filming a series for PBS about extreme weather and sort of like, it's not just, we're not storm chasing necessarily, although we do shoot video of weather. We're looking for the like why behind weather and why it's changing, right? And so we're looking at these big sort of meteorological shifts that are happening, right?
That's cool.
The jet stream is changing. This idea of like a hotter atmosphere is a thirstier atmosphere. And so how does that play out in terms of flood and drought? I was just in Florida diving, looking at coral.
Cool.
And, in Alaska a few weeks ago, looking at permafrost. And we'll be in California in a couple of weeks looking at what used to be the largest lake west of the Mississippi that was drained and disappeared and came back for the first time in 40 years in 2023 due to all the flooding that happened out there. And it's a lake that's probably going to be around for another couple of years as a result of the flooding. So anyway, fascinating stuff, I think. And that's a show called Weathered. And it's released on YouTube as well as broadcast on PBS. So check it out.
Okay. All right, that's cool. Are you a meteorologist too, by any chance?
No, I'm not. I'm a scientist wannabe. That's all I take the smart stuff that scientists say and I make it understandable.
What's that? They say you stayed at a Holiday Inn last night. So.
All right. You all have a great night. Nice chatting with you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Trip. Thank you. Thank you. And please come back again.
Will do.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Night. Wow, that was really cool. Kat K, I didn't get to a lot of your comments. If you would shoot me a message or email, I would like to know more about the Fire Angel program, being as a firefighter that I am. So, shoot me an email, or you can always send us. I got it up here somewhere. Maybe I don't have my email up here. Well, you can always. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you can shoot an email there, paranormalguyz@gmail.com. I'd like to know more about that. That sounds like it's kind of interesting.
She may not want to tell you about it.
Well, she said she's an angel and she likes fire. I mean, it's two things going for it, right?
Oh, she said no. Ask Nikki.
No, ask
She
Nikki.
was definitely in Paradise Fire is where she went to go help.
Okay.
So that's how she, has the information that she has firsthand that she's letting me know these things about. So you're right. Email them, let them know, that's something that does need to be talked about in this whole thing too.
Oh.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
She said Nikki knows how to get in touch with her.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'll hook it up.
Okay.
I'll give you the
All right.
email, sure.
Nikki's the man on the spot now. So
Nick is a hookup.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I didn't even know I had all the connections. Right?
Nikki,
well,
he's
if you're going to be a sport cat sidekick, a sport kitten, you got to
he's
be on
gonna
top of
push
it.
me aside for you.
Well, it's happened.
Yay.
It's happened before. So
I just wanted to be the
Mom,
info
you
girl.
thought here's what happened when he introduced us, Nikki. He said the wonderful, beautiful Nikki, and here's Dina.
Oh,
That's how it starts.
That's
But you know,
easy.
Dina, that's
You
what the
know,
greatest ones always
this-
do. They do that to the
I'm
greatest
not
ones. So.
happy.
I've got this
Well,
annoying
hey,
whine in
remember,
my
I'm
earphone
new.
here. I think I've heard this before.
I'm new here, Dina. I'm sure that the enamel will wear off here pretty
I
soon.
love you, honey.
I don't.
I love you too.
Flipping or something. You've got some static somewhere.
Yeah,
Okay,
you got a
let me
little bit
change
of
that
a little bit of something in there.
You're rattling my brain.
Well, our second guest has not yet to answer any of my messages or emails for a couple days. Hope that he's okay. And hopefully we'll get him back on. I promised everybody it would be Robin Williams. And, well, the real Robin Williams obviously can't come on unless I have a medium that could talk to him. So, but this was an impersonator, and we had chatted for quite a while, and he wanted to come on and do a little skit and a little show for us. So maybe he'll come in here in a little bit. In other news, on all the Bigfoot pages, I posted some possible breaking news. I was sent a video by a team member. In case you don't know, I was in the mountains, or not in the mountains, I was in the woods, the forest, just over the weekend, Thursday through. Hey, there's the Bobby Dizzle, the B Dizzle, and he was with me. We were in the woods for a couple days, just getting away and relaxing. My teammate had sent a video to me, and she sent it to the whole group, and said that it's a possible bipedal creature. So I got this like 10 minutes before airing, so I didn't get a whole lot of chance to listen to Bobby. He's like, that's a secret. So, well, no, I've actually got permission to share it. So, so then I got mauled by 10 big dogs. Well, okay, then. Well, I have a bad story with that too, but
Yeah, cat got mauled by dogs when she was in paradise helping.
wow. Well, I got mauled by one in South Atlanta. So Bobby says he's seen this more than I have, obviously, that you can see an arm swing in one of the frames. So I'm going to just bring this up here, and hopefully Robin isn't asphyxiated. I don't know what he means there.
Hey, now that wasn't wrong.
Is that an inside joke?
Are you kidding?
You talking to me?
Yes.
No.
Oh my lord.
All right. Well, you'll have to tell me after the show.
Right over your head there, Glenn. It's
Stop
not
it.
good.
Okay. Well, I'm a little slow. But I'm a fireman, remember? So let's see here. This
I can't believe you said that.
what? I was repeating the Token Muddle
I said
podcast. Okay.
You said that.
Oh,
Yeah, I
well,
can.
yeah,
Yeah, I
you
can.
know how Todd is.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Right before it goes behind the tree, you can see the arm go behind it, and I think it may just go behind a smaller tree. All right, well, let's see here. I'm going to start this from the beginning. I was trying to watch it before the show with Nikki and Dina to see what we could see. So I'm just going to let it run in its entirety. And
There he is.
is that it?
He's
Yeah,
flipping you
that's
the
it.
bird. Do you see it? He's flipping.
Nope, I don't see it.
I see it.
You see it? Okay, well, that's good.
I don't see the bird, but I see the face and the figure moving.
He
The
was
figure
flipping
moving.
Damn, if she wouldn't hold still.
Hey, y'all.
You're right, Todd. You're right. Oh, damn it. I said it on public.
there's something definitely in the bushes right in front of me. I'm seeing it, but because it's straight in front of me, but because it's so bushy and close, I can't tell what it is, but it's around.
And Bobby says it walks away.
I see it going on. It's walking. I saw it walk away. It's crazy.
Well, it's definitely not the Patterson Gimlin film, but yeah, I saw the flying squirrel or the rabbit, whatever it was.
You actually looked a little bit up off the ground.
She's very tall.
I don't know why I'm not able to focus right now.
I hope your doctor wasn't that shaky.
It almost sounds like she's diving. Okay, well,
Hey,
what do you all think?
let's watch it one
Go
more
back to the
time.
very beginning. Yeah.
Okay,
Put it back to
all right.
We'll
the
make it
I like
bigger.
that where when it first comes
Make it, but I can't make it bigger. I
I
mean,
said I'm making it bigger. Damn it.
oh, excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mean to get in your way there. Hold on. Can I do that? Oh, I can do that. Let me hide that real quick. Well, I'll just put it over Dina's face. All right, so here we go. Maybe play.
Stabilizer thing. Hey.
Wow. It goes behind the tree. You saw it right there.
Come here.
Yeah, now she can't find it.
Mhm.
So
Wait.
there's something definitely in the bushes right in front of me. I'm seeing it, but because it's straight in front of me,
Oh, there it
because
is.
it's
There he
so
is.
bushy and close, I can't tell what it is, but it's around.
See him.
So yeah, I think it might get lost in translation.
You actually looked a little bit up off the ground.
Because that first part is off the hook right there.
I'm not able to focus right now.
Okay. Oh, dang.
So, what part of the video do you think it's in? And she wasn't out of breath. That's probably because it was 22 degrees out, and we're looking through a thermal camera. Is what we're looking at, a night camera.
The first part of the video is the best.
Yeah.
But it's weird how I can see the figure and the face.
Yeah, I can too.
Now, like, is that what we're talking about right there?
Yeah, go a little bit further.
Yeah, it'll walk right over to that tree.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep, there. See?
So you're saying it turned right there? That's its back? Is that what you're saying?
No, not quite.
The side.
It's side, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Looks right at the camera.
Right. Wow.
And that's where she loses it. So
Yeah.
Well, but even after that, it walks over to the tree
Yeah.
and goes behind the tree.
to the right or to the left?
To the
Watch it. You can't
Right there.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So it's going over to that V thing.
Mm-hmm.
It goes all the way behind.
Yeah, and then it turns around and walks.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, I don't see that
Very,
face.
very cool.
Well, for our podcast listeners, what we're doing is we're looking at some video that was filmed on a night vision Friday or Saturday night. Thanks, Tina. And it was what we think to be a bipedal creature. Holy cow. Why do I put up with you women? I usually have to pay for that. And he says, see, Bobby says there's an arm swing before it goes away. Which, oh, was that it right there? I just missed.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it gets lost in translation because the rest of it kind of doesn't have anything in it.
Yeah.
So we forget by the time you get back to that. So this video was cut for, however long until he goes behind that tree and turns back and looks and all that. Man, that would be off the chain right there.
I don't think it was.
Okay.
I think it was just where she moved.
Well, I don't have really good video editors. I can send it to you, Kat, if you're good, or Kat. Nikki, if you're good with, I was looking down here at the right. If you're really good with video.
Oh, there it goes. So you see where the arm is swung back?
Right. And you can see a face.
You can?
Yeah. I can make out a nose and eyes and the arm coming straight down right there, like it's getting ready to walk.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you see?
Wow.
The arm like it's getting ready to walk?
Yeah.
Hit play.
I think.
All right.
Yes. Yes. It's still facing us right now.
Yep. And there it goes.
And there it turned around. Yep.
Okay. Okay, I saw it better that time. It's hard to tell what you're looking at because you're looking through brush. I'm not sure if she's at a higher elevation. I'd have to get some more information from her, or she's at an equal, or she's looking up to get. I'm thinking she's
looking right there.
I'm thinking she's looking up the side of the mountain at it. So
that's what it looks like to me because it's too much of a straight on angle for it to be like if she was like up higher than it would be lower in the film. And it could have to do with her height too. I mean, that could have a big thing to do with it. But the cloaking part of it is really, really evident to me when it's turning and doing that, how I can see the figure, but you can't see it.
Right,
you know
right.
I mean?
Right. It kind of disappears when it goes behind that tree, and then it reappears as it's walking away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
Cool. Well, see, now this is why we're the Para Normal Guyz, because I would look at this and say, I don't know. But you guys are seeing it so much clearer than I am, which is odd. Usually I'm like, oh, don't you see it? And it's like a little blob, but...
Well, I think that's interesting about me being on the panel too, because of how I see stuff, agents and photos. Like I never even really looked at Bigfoot footage, in this light, how I look at images now. And, it's not that I just haven't done it. I haven't looked at Bigfoot in a long time since I first heard about him. So now that I can see this way, I'm like, wow, you really can see that cloaked kind of invisible version. Along with the shadow movement, it matches the shadow. Like when it turned to the side and its arm was like kind of down like this, I literally can see eyes and a nose, like the face area.
Yeah. It took me a minute to tell if it was forward or backward, but then when you said you asked me if I could see.
Right.
There may be. It almost looks like there are two of them.
Well, I know somewhere in there, and I don't think it's in this video, but they had really great footage of an owl. I kind of wish you'd sent me that too. So,
an owl.
But no, this wasn't the owl. No, because she said in the video of the owl, you can see the owl plain as day, but it was sitting looking at you with its wings down in the brush, and it looked like a subject sitting looking at you. So I'd like to see that just to be cool, but this was separate from that. So yeah, I'll send it to you, Nikki.
Can you see
You,
where I'm sorry.
no, I was go
See
ahead.
where the tree? Do you see? You see the darker part of the tree up here
At the top.
at the top? Okay, the branch
Mhm.
to the right of it. Down here, do you see like there's like two faces? There's one darker and
Yeah.
then one to the right of it that's a little bit lighter.
Yeah, and I can see even more than that because the one that you're talking about, I can see faces on both sides of those. I can see one on the other side in the dimmer part. But, since we're talking and all the way over on the edge over here, I can see a whole big face. So, I don't think it has, that's the thing that everybody kind of has to see faces right there, is that's what kind
Right.
of cues us in.
But I
But
mean,
the face that I saw was the right size for the figure.
right.
So
But
that's why
these
I'll be
two,
curious to get the picture or the video.
yeah. But these two look like they're the right size as well. I mean, like right side by side.
Are you going pretty small? Are you zooming in?
I'm zoomed in right now, yeah.
Because zooming in a lot of times is where, that's our kind of our natural default is to zoom in.
No, maybe
And
that's
when you
what.
zoom in, that's when you can find even more than I can
Oh,
see
maybe
just
that's what it is then.
perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. And not that it's not relevant, though. I want to point
No,
that out
it
because,
may not be.
well, but it is relevant for you, and you're learning how to do, kind of like what I can do,
Oh,
like see
okay.
the faces like I can see. Because I started out real little too. And now it's like half the picture. And remember, I showed you the other day how the fourth rule of soul portraits by spirit is how spirit builds portraits. It was this portrait and this portrait that kind of start
Right,
forming with the
right.
bigger image now. So that's why I say when we zoom in, you can get like, a bunch of faces if you zoom.
Oh, okay.
But it
And
is relevant.
I pulled it up on YouTube, and on YouTube it's darker in the video than it is on my actual screen too. So
All right.
I don't know why that is. It's kind of odd,
Yeah.
but that's cool. Nonetheless, I think there's something there. And we did hear that night,
Right there.
Friday night, I heard some whistles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then this is
And-
the thing. I think Bigfoot's a lot more intelligent than just like I don't think this is something that's going to be like, you either believe it or you don't kind of thing. Kind of like everything else is that we have to deal with in life. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And you guys opened my eyes up to the portal thing. I never thought about that before, but I definitely know that there are portals. So, yeah. I think the big face that I can see in front of that right now, that standing figure, I think that to me is kind of like my version of kind of even, making out the form of what a Bigfoot face could be like. So I think, it's able to put that face in the forefront. So Bigfoot's back here and I can see this face, like it's all on the vision perspective. Because you can look at that also and be like, oh, that is pareidolia. And that's exactly right. That's how we get the notion to see where it's at. But then you have to go a little bit deeper and put the picture with the picture.
Okay, Bob just sent this to me, so let's see what he's got here.
Oh, wow. Is that the same video, just darker?
Yeah, and I guess I don't know how to flip it, so we're looking at it sideways now.
Crap. Put it back, just pause it and put it right back on the very beginning of the video. You'll see it.
I can't look at it sideways.
Sideways.
Yeah, hold on a second. Yeah.
I can't look at it sideways.
Yeah, as soon as it starts, just pause it. Yeah, there, right there. Now zoom.
Yeah. I can't zoom on this, so but I can send it to you on let's see, how can I do
Yeah,
that?
I thought I saw it giving the bird too.
Do what? That's not giving the bird. Okay.
Wendell said he saw it give the bird, and I said I saw it too.
Yes, I see
See, it
it
looks like it
now.
right there.
It is right there.
So we actually think.
That is perfect.
I
Oh my
know.
goodness.
Oh my! I don't know what to do with you people. I don't.
It's the truth.
Well, I mean, it could very well be. I mean,
I mean,
if
it
it's
may be.
if it's observed us enough, it would definitely
Maybe.
have that. So
No, it would be this situation right here where Bigfoot that you can never really capture would be like, hey.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
hey, you see me,
That
but you're
picture.
not going to see me in a minute.
Right.
I
And I'm
just sent it to you, Nikki. If you know how to flip it back the other way. Yeah, I see that now. Good catch there. Prospect says he's got his own chat. And Bobby says he doesn't know why I did the sideways thing. Well, I mean, you do work technical support for the U.S. government, so.
Mhm.
Don't worry about that. Get it however you can get it. We have
That's
equipment to
right.
turn it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nikki, see if you can turn it if you know how to.
It's turned now, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but here in a second when he moves his phone, it
Oh,
goes.
dang it.
Yeah,
Dang
see,
it, dog.
yeah. So Bob ruined it for us.
Bob.
Bob,
Damn it, Bob.
why, man?
Turn it back. Turn it back.
From here, I see an alien. No.
Like this.
Yeah, everybody turned their head. I can see something there. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that Bob?
Yeah, and we might be able to see him walk away really easily this way too, because now you're focused up there and not all the distraction.
Wait, is that Bobby's face on it? Oh, that hurt me.
That's a whole other subject, Gina. Turn your picture the other way and see Bobby.
Oh, I'm glad we're such a serious show here.
Sorry, I hurt myself.
Yes.
You hurt yourself. Oh, that's funny. So, I'm assuming that it wasn't his reflection, but it could be. I don't know.
I'm kidding. I was kind of kidding. I don't know. He could have.
Did he send me another one? No, I don't. He's okay.
Bobby,
Hold on.
Go in there to edit, crop, edit,
One
crop, and then
the one night he chooses not to be on our show.
Excuse me, I'm talking. You
Whoa,
go to
calm
edit
down.
and crop, and you can flip it around. Don't
That's what
crop
she
it.
said.
Screenshot, you can flip it. Yeah.
I'll be in the bushes.
I'm sitting here watching it right now sideways. Can ready to watch
There
him
you
walk away.
Thank you.
Nice, Gina. You're amazing. How did all this work?
All we need is a woman to tell us what to do, and it just gets done. So that's I see it there in the middle of the.
It's about to walk away.
Yeah.
There it goes. There it goes.
There it goes. There it goes.
Yep. Oh my goodness.
Wow. Yeah, that is much better. Thank you, Bobby.
Much more clear, yeah.
Bobby, send that to her, back to her somehow. I think you have her email now, so that's good. Yeah, you can see it much clearer there. Good job, Bobby.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bobby. Bobby Dizzle, everyone.
Well, see, I had to scoop this tonight because I know he was probably going to go live with it soon.
Yeah.
So I had to beat the Dizzle since he wasn't on my show tonight.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
All right.
That's good video.
It is good video, actually. Much better without all the bouncing.
Down. If you cut that down just where you see that over and over happening,
Yeah.
nobody's going to be able to tell what they're saying.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, and there it goes.
Damn. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So that just goes to show
Stop.
you never know what's in the woods with you.
No, you do not.
No.
Rather
It is
scary.
everything.
Mhm.
Intention is everything. Yeah, that if it was the first night, well, I'm pretty sure it was the first night that we were out there. So that would have been Friday. Well, she was out there, so that would have been Friday night, and that was the night that I did hear. No, that was Thursday night because she came right after work, I believe. I'll have to go back and look and see when she showed up. But my point is, I did hear. We call it the bionic bird. And once you've heard it, you could never unhear it. And if you've been out in the woods 100 years and you say, oh, there's nothing out there I haven't heard. Well, we'll play this. And you'll go, oh, that's a bird. And you listen to it and you go, that bird has big lungs. So, because that's what I always thought. The bionic bird, I don't think I have that saved anywhere. I can try and find it real quick.
That sounds like one.
I would like to hear that.
Yeah, I know I got it somewhere, but I don't know where. I haven't played that file because I've heard it so many times. I don't need to hear it anymore.
Somebody does. We do.
Absolutely. Okay. Oh, hold on. I have found it. This won't be perfect. No. No, you can't hear that. Stop. Get off my screen. There we go.
Horn.
All right. Now let's go back over here. I'm doing all this technical stuff when I'm not supposed to be. Share background audio. All right, here we go.
That does not sound like a bird. Oh my gosh. Sorry.
It was a tree branch.
That was a tree branch?
Well,
Is this continuous recording audio and not muted?
Not a loop.
okay. So the story behind that, the person who, no, this was not the other night. The person that recorded that is my hero. We've been out in the woods. I've learned a lot from him. If you've watched the TV show Killing Bigfoot, it's Bob Grumpy that I'm good friends with. And that recording is made in the forest of Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken. And he was in a blind, so to speak. Wow. He played a recording of one and then waited. Those are more than one coming in looking for the one that they don't know the whistle of.
Oh
when you hear the tree branch break, that's when one that isn't whistling pops up in front of him where he can seize it and breaks a very large branch to signal to the others it's the hairless one fucking with us.
Oh shit.
And that's by the time he got some serious pucker factor. But he was at a higher elevation, so he was either having to shoot his way out or stand his ground. So that's what that is. They're coming. If you picture, they're coming in on him, and the one's talking to the other one, and they're coming in, and you hear the break, and you hear they kind of stop, and they don't get as close anymore, and then you hear the other one doing the little short whistles, which whatever in their language must mean stay the hell away. He's got a bang stick or something. So,
Wow.
thank you, Bob.
That's scary.
So a lot of people I have played that exact sound clip for that I've went out and been like, you have Bigfoot activity, you don't have Bigfoot activity. I've played that, and 90% of them will say, oh, I've been out in the woods all my life. That's a bird. It's not a bird. It's not a bird. So it's not a fox. It's something with very large, powerful lungs. So,
And especially if it wasn't looping.
no, that was continuous until I stopped it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I'm
And
sure it would have already been recorded and proved wrong if it was a bird, and somebody could say that it was, that bird.
well, the nice thing about my group is we're very scientific. So we try and disprove what it is before we try and prove what it is. So now, had this not been from him intentionally calling them and fooling them and getting the recording, I would probably not have believed it. But knowing the source, knowing how he got it, I know where he got it too.
Can you say what state it was in?
I think it was Louisiana. I think
Okay.
it was either Florida or Louisiana. But I have heard that in, let's see, I've heard it in North Carolina. I've heard that in Tennessee. I've heard that in Alabama. I've heard that in Georgia. I think I've heard it in Florida. So I've heard that same whistle, but they don't all do that. What we think is that's how they bullshit whistle while you work, while they're out in the field, while they're out doing whatever it is they're doing. Because it's not if it was a roar or a growl or something, they could scare off whatever it is their prey is.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds like something that should be in the rainforest, like
Mhm.
big giant bird in the rainforest. But of course, there's none of those here.
it's a possibility, Todd. We just don't know. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they could be using that to get their own location on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, well, she's in our group also, just came up with the theory about the eye shine, because sometimes you'll see the eye shine and it's different colors.
Mm-hmm.
And then other times you will see it almost be, instead of just blinking, you can see me blink, you will see it almost be like a signal. And the person is leading down the path that they're using that at night when they're close. They know where each other is, and they're using that as a location. So
Yeah.
sounds like a whole lot of shit in my pants. Well, now my story with that, I went out when I was very young into this Bigfooting world. And the group was like, all right, we're sending you out to South Georgia. And this guy's probably crazy. He probably doesn't have Bigfoot there. And just go check it out, and you'll be okay. So I went out there before dark, and I roamed around, and I told him, I said, yeah, it could be. He had a lot of things. He had, yeah, exactly, Todd, Morse code like the Navy. He had tree breaks. When you start learning to track, you notice how different things break or bend when you're tracking them, and you can also tell the height of a creature. And he had some signs that could have been. He had some things tore down. Well, that night we sat around, was kind of BSing, and I was going to tell him, yeah, I don't know. I can't prove or disprove your theory, but you got nothing to worry about. I heard the bionic bird in the distance. Like, okay. So I just kind of started watching him, and he's just going on talking. He's grilling this burger and dog because he didn't want to be left alone. And it was getting closer, and I said, hey, you hear that? And he listened. He goes, oh, yeah, that's a bird. And I'm like, no, that's not a bird. That is not a bird. And I managed to get one pinned in a bush practically right in front of me. The bush was so thick I couldn't see through it, even with my flashlight. And it was doing that so loud, my clothes were shaking, my ears were ringing. It was doing every bird, owl sound I've ever heard in my entire life all at once, including animals from the rainforest that I've heard even just on TV and in the zoos and stuff. So
damn.
they are great mimickers too. So
It was like, why can't I shake this guy? What's wrong?
well, I had it pinned down by the light. That's what I was doing on the other side of the tree. I had it pinned down by a flashlight in the bush.
Like, this guy won't go away.
Yeah. And I look back and think, gosh, I wish I'd been braver and rushed that bush just to see what was really on the other side of that. So, but I didn't because it was so strong. I mean, it was vibrating through my body. It didn't growl. It didn't act like it was angry or going to come through the bush and eat me. Now, that's not saying that Bigfoot are friendly. We don't know that for a fact because people disappear in the forest all the time. And we do know that they are carnivorous. They eat meat. So what kind of meat? I don't know. If I would want to be the one to stumble upon a hungry gay Sasquatch. So
Oh, come on now.
just throwing it out there. So
Yeah, you never know.
you had to think about that one, didn't you, Nikki?
I tried not to.
I'm either going to eat you or we're going to fuck. Either way, I'm screwed. So yeah. So yeah.
I'm sorry.
Do what, Dina?
I said, how tall was it? Did you see?
I never saw that one. I saw one that was behind me though, because it broke a big branch, distracted us. We turned to see what that big snap was because it sounded like it was about to hit us in the head. And as soon as we did, it sounded like a freight train running through the bushes in front of me. So no, I never saw that one.
Maybe
I saw a leg on the other one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There is a lot of theory that the juvenile ones are the ones that usually get in trouble and get caught the most. So, because they're the most mischievous. So,
I've watched a few shows. I don't know that much about them, but you know how they do the trees in the forest where they set them up. They're like like in the triangle shapes or whatever. Do you know why they do that?
No, we don't. We have a feeling sometimes that some of the different signs are telling it this way to food, this way to water, unsafe areas. Those are just some things we think, but we don't know. We don't know.
I wondered.
Now, when you see a very large tree that's been snapped and twisted, we think that's because they're angry about something, and so
I could imagine that.
There was a fellow in one of our researchers that was in our group in the Northwest Georgia mountains that was on top of the mountain on a windy day and went up to the top of the ridge, stood on a boulder, and shook a pine branch, making gorilla sounds and shaking it violently. We had all kinds of activity that night. So whatever that meant, they didn't like it. So either that or they didn't like the hairless one messing with them. So
yeah.
They like us best where they know we're comfortable, where we know our zone is around that campfire. When we get away from that campfire, they don't like it too much.
Yeah. They like to where they can watch you, but you can't see them.
Correct. We're their cable TV. So, I mean, think about it. How bored would you be? So,
guys, right, drinking, acting up. Yes, I'm sure it's very entertaining.
Oh yeah, and then if they could scare us, that makes their entertainment, especially the young ones.
Goofballs over there.
Because a lot of times if they start throwing stuff at you and you just ignore it and just keep your back to it, they'll start getting closer and closer and closer. So then it gets to be like a game. They're like, okay, these are stupid humans. They don't realize there's a big thing throwing rocks at them. So then we turn around and go, whoa, and they freak out. So or we turn around, they're right there, and we go, ah.
That's funny.
Put this video together.
Oh, you're editing the video.
As we speak.
Wow. Yeah, so yeah, that's cool. I love going out in the woods, and like I said, we would go out, we would be looking for Sasquatch, hunting for it, however you want to say it. Best way to find a Sasquatch now, sit around the campfire, make a lot of noise, have some fun, And usually the second night there is when you'll have some activity. And try as best you can to ignore it because they will get more curious and closer. So
That's funny.
they don't have weapons or fire yet, so we're ahead of them there.
Yeah, if you put like stuff out for them, will they take it, like food or whatever?
They love peanut butter,
Yeah.
and they love here in Georgia they like citrus fruits
I bet if you
because
bring
there's
them
not a lot of them.
Nutter butters, they'd probably love you.
Somebody told us that they left Oreos out for them, and they broke their window with them. That apparently that they thought that the sugar may have gave them a sugar rush or a headache. They threw the Oreos through the window at them.
That's not good. Well, Oreos are chocolate. Nutter butters are peanut butter cookies.
Yeah. So I was going.
Yeah.
Huh?
What's the?
Just add bacon.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
Everything loves bacon.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, my mom has left peanut butter out for some in Tennessee. So
Yeah.
Bobby says that the Squatch Man says their favorite is raspberry filled Krispy Kreme.
Oh,
What part of the
Mine
world is he
too.
in? Yeah, I know. A fat kid here. I like them too.
yeah.
What part of the country is he in, Bobby? Yeah, everybody I've talked to that, it's pretty common that they like apples or citrus fruits or
Oh, yeah.
peanut butter is a big thing with them. So, okay, he's in Kentucky. So, well, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. I think they're closer than people realize. I think that they, they're not like in the cities, but I think in the suburbs, I don't think it's too much of a stretch because we're limiting so much of the forest land.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, my first adventure with one was in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. So that should tell you right there that they're closer than we know.
Mhm. They probably came looking for you, though.
No, I went looking for it and I found it and it scared me, but it sent me on a lifelong quest. And since then, I've seen them in 2 other states and had some pretty fun times in the woods. But even if I never saw another one again when I went out with my friends, it's good time camping. So, except for when it's 22 friggin' degrees. So,
Yeah, that's cool.
and we got to teach Bobby that when you blow something up with hot air on a 22 degree night, it's going to shrink. So that's why your tent mattress deflated. It wasn't that it went flat; the air shrunk.
Yeah.
There-
Deflate.
Yeah. Bobby deflated. He couldn't keep it up. So, yes, the rumor was that the Mount Vernon Monster did throw a cop in a dumpster. But we'd had an officer on here from the police department, and he said he had never heard that story. So, could have just been an urban legend. So, still cool. I heard it firsthand from some people. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but yeah, it's cool when you're out in the woods. You don't know what's out there. Sometimes it can scare you. So you hear that in the middle of the night, and yeah, it'll kind of freak you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be there when you got up.
Always had people leave camp before.
Yeah, that noise you played? No. I might have been like, okay, I'll go, but
Most
yeah.
people would think it was a bird, though. I mean, they wouldn't, being out in the woods, they wouldn't think it was anything.
Tweety.
I don't know. That didn't sound like no bird,
Being
no
on the
squirrel.
lake or something.
That sounds
The next time I hear it, I'll be like, oh, there's a Bigfoot. What the hell? What the hell?
Now you guys are gonna have me raise Bigfoot clothes. Man.
Hey, you never know. You could be out at your local community park and see one. So
Yeah.
never know.
We have a big park over here with lots of acreage. So
Todd says piss a perimeter. That's actually true, but I've heard stories of campers waking up and thinking it's raining and something pissing on their tent.
Oh,
So
that is not good. Not good.
I don't want to smell that.
no, I don't think, because you know it's dehydrated. Coyote still howls that like that was. I don't know what you're trying to say, but
Coyote style howl. That was like Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I needed a Tennessean to decode that one for me. So
Shut up. You're a tennis. Oh, no, you're not.
yeah, that's right. I'm not a Yankee though, so let's get that straight.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, always put your rain flap on. Good advice, Todd. Good advice.
Yeah.
Yes, that's Stella right there.
One of my friends, he said him and his son had been out in their shed. This is up in the North Georgia mountains, playing guitars and just, practicing and just, playing music, having a good time, drinking beer. And he said his son went out just outside the shed door to take a leak. And he said that he heard something go, huh. And about that time, a bigger puddle started appearing beside his. And he's like, all right, I'm coming in.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Yeah, like that. He's the one that sent me probably the creepiest recording I've ever heard of a Bigfoot. He was in a house, and his window to his bedroom wasn't quite on the second floor, but it was elevated about 12, 14 feet. And so he had been hearing things, so he took a recorder and put it between his screen and his window pane and went to bed. And you could hear this thing crunching through the frost slowly, going kind of like to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left. It was real slow. And then you hear it rake its fingernail down the screen and flip the recorder and go, huh. And then you actually hear a car like going down the street or something, and you hear it running away. And he said, that's kind of crazy because that's exactly where my head is when he goes to sleep. Yeah.
My mother did that to me one time when I was a teenager. Scared the shit out of me.
What, peed in the woods when you were peeing? Oh, okay.
I was sitting in my bedroom on my bed reading, and and we didn't have air conditioning in the house at that time. And it had just gotten dark. It was like just gotten dark, and she was coming home from my grandmother's like 2 doors away. And I had my light on so she could see in, I couldn't see out. So she came up to my bedroom window and it was at the side of it, and she scratched it. And I was like, what the fuck? Well, I didn't say what the fuck. I didn't cuss then. I was a really good girl. And
whatever.
I was like, looked at it, and I went back to reading, and she scratched it again, harder. And I was like, is that? And I got up and went over to the window and looked out, and she went, boo.
And that, my friends, is how white people die.
I jumped back about 4 or 5 feet. What the hell are you doing?
Right. Yeah, I'm no good in that
She
situation.
laughed her butt off at me. It was so mean. That was mean. It made me cry.
It's traumatized you to this day, huh?
Yes.
All right.
Awful.
Well, I'll tell Nancy that I thought that was great next time I see her. So
She won't remember it. She don't remember anything now.
No, poor mom.
I don't know.
So, Todd, to answer your question, both of them were drinking. I don't know if the Bigfoot was. So, can you imagine if we got a Bigfoot drunk? Whew.
Oh my goodness.
Leave some moonshine out for it. Say, here, try this. Fire water. It's good for you. I can imagine how a drunk Bigfoot would be angry. So, so that's. Oh, you sent it back to me?
Yeah, it's just the part that we were talking about, and it's just 2 times, so it's not an overload, but watch it 2
Okay.
times like that.
Okay. Did you send it back through Facebook? Okay, I just got
Yeah,
it.
through the message.
Okay, I just got it. Took a second, I guess. Yeah. All right. Let's see. And close this. Close this. And here we go.
Oh, I think that's the one that you sent me. That's not the one that I just sent you.
Well, it said you sent a video.
Wrong video.
Yeah, it's actually no, I didn't send it wrong. It's actually just about
Oh.
3/4 of the way on the circle that it's sending to you.
Oh.
So you're actually showing
okay.
the original that you.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
Well, no, it says that you sent a video. I guess it just hasn't popped up yet.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Maybe Bobby can bring some this weekend. Oh, were you and Bobby going out in the? Oh yeah, out in the woods this weekend, Wendell. We had a great time out in the woods. Bobby and I were real good friends. We got close. I don't think I have. I don't think I.
Outside your tent.
Yeah, I don't have that video, so I won't play that if I did. So.
Well,
Jerk.
this tells me a lot too that you
What's
guys
that?
should always be doing video because picture is going to be a lot harder to really get somebody big. But when you see that movement through there, you're like, it's shocking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that a picture can't tell. You know, it's a video.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
Yeah,
it's
Bobby and I.
amazing.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. It said, but it told me you sent one, so it's weird.
They hugged more than once.
We did. We had man hugs.
Well, I think I might be getting weird.
I am, and he's not made up his mind. Oh well, he probably won't then. Bobby. It took him to the last minute to decide to come out with us. So. What? Is your underwear poking you?
Oh, my back is hurting.
Oh, poor thing.
My hips and back.
That might be there.
Yeah, I think I just heard it come in. I was gonna share something here real quick. So, yep, show it on screen. There we go. It's my hero right there. It's my hero. So, the Dizzle.
You backed up to make Bobby's face look huge. Why'd you do that? Look at how big his head looks.
You know, I didn't even notice that. So, yes, I saw us and knew we were related. I think it was just he had it on a selfie stick and he was trying to be so serious. So,
I was kidding.
And this was just us at night goofing off. So,
that's a good picture.
Yeah. He's my hero. All right, so let's see here. He wanted me to see this video. He must have went to bed. I ain't heard from him again.
Yeah.
His wife's got him on a short leash. He was gone for the weekend, so.
He's a working man.
That's true. It's true. He's got a real job now, so he can't get out and play like he used to.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, that's pretty plain.
Mm-hmm.
It's the walk away for me.
Yeah.
Because he's just standing there right there.
Yeah. That's crazy looking.
Yep, and there he goes. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, definitely see it.
I say, I don't know that I would have caught that when I was going back and reviewing my stuff.
Hmm.
I mean,
Oh, I
obviously on
thought
the.
Bobby called it.
It
Oh
does
no,
look like
this wasn't. No, this wasn't Bobby's video.
No, I just mean because he said he went through it frame by frame.
Ah,
He
gotcha.
said he's
Okay,
been watching this for hours frame by
Oh.
frame. I see why.
yeah,
that's good video.
it is.
I'll have to send that back to the young lady that sent it to me or to our group.
Mhm.
Yes, Donna, it's very
Yeah,
cool.
for sure.
You just never know what's out there. And she thought she saw something, but then it was gone, and so she didn't think anything about it again. And in
She's
fact,
gonna
when
be
she came,
excited.
yeah, well, she was tuning in tonight. She was in the chat a minute ago. She didn't even tell us when she came back to base camp about it. So
Oh, really?
we heard about the owl because the owl was so prominent, and we heard about it was one of the guys who's like he's well versed in Bigfoot, and he's like looking through a scope, and he's like taking his eyes down. He's looking through a scope, he's taking his eyes down, and he goes, "It's right there. It's looking at me." And so finally, he handed it to the other guy, and he's like, "I think I see what you're looking at." And he goes, "No, it's right there." And he turned his light on. It was a stump. So we heard about that one. So, yeah. Well, he showed us the video of it, and he showed us with a picture with the lights on.
A piece of advice that I have in that situation is, like she said, it's right in front of me, but I can't really see it.
Yeah.
That's what I have to do sometimes. I have to turn my head this way, or I have to turn my head this way. If I do that and stay still, whatever's moving is now, you know what I mean, like pinpointed out.
Okay.
Like it's at looking at different angles side to side. When it's straight on, that's when you're like blinded. You can't really see it because of that cloaking thing. But if you move this way and it goes to move, you definitely notice the movement.
Okay.
So yeah, try that maybe.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah. Well, that's a lot of times you can see things out of the corner or side of your eyes a little bit better sometimes. So we did have a UFO flyover, which was very weird. I didn't see it. I was too worried about warming up my hands and feet, and I was like standing in the fire. But others in the base camp saw it. It flew vertical, horizontal, right over the camp, stayed level, and didn't have that way. Didn't have a sound. It was that way, yeah. Didn't have a sound, didn't have a tail, nothing. And it was rotating from white to red. And Kristen, it was very good tape. Thank you for allowing me to share it. And Bobby's got it slowed down, and I also have where Nikki has made just a few frames of it and looped it twice with it slowed down. So
awesome.
That is good footage. It's very good footage. I would say we proved that there is something bipedal in the woods. So something big.
Yeah.
Don't know what.
And I would love
big.
to actually take that picture where I could see the face and try to sketch it out. Like that's what I'm thinking about now, is how I could actually get that picture that I can see and sketch out that face. So I might try to do that.
Cool.
Okay.
That's awesome.
You're good at that stuff. That's why we got you around here now. So we thought it was just for your good looks. So that was for me. So.
Oh my gosh. I didn't think
So just remember, you're the beautiful and adorable Nikki, and well, we got Dina. So
I knew it. I was about to say, don't you do it either.
Right. I don't feel
Dina.
adorable. I'm sick.
Gina, you are the most beautiful woman on this show. Let me just tell you that right now.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
for
I
saying
seen you
that,
back
but-
kitty.
Ugh.
I already know what's under there.
No,
I already know.
yes, she's a wonderful lady. I've known Dina for like 30 years, I guess. So
I'm old.
yeah, you're like 60.
Oh Lord, I'm 75.
Oh God, didn't know you were that old. So,
Not
You
really.
are not.
Not really. Not really.
yeah,
We ain't
Kristen says
buying
she
it anyways,
didn't.
even if you said really.
I feel like that right now. I don't feel well.
Well, it's because your roommate's sick.
I kicked JT's ass out of here in a couple of
You
days.
need to keep Shelton as ransom. So
No.
yeah, he gets you sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kristen, that was amazing. That was amazing footage, Kristen. And it's
It
crazy
really
that you were
was.
talking and saying that you could see it and not see it.
I
All the stuff that you
know.
even said in the video. That's wild too. That's how it works. When I got my EVP, right after it did the noise that I didn't even hear when I did it, I started going, well, I just want you to know whoever's here or come in peace. Like that's just how it works. Like you don't realize it until you go back and examine it like
And you're
this.
like,
But yeah, very
what?
cool. Very cool.
I really did catch it.
Yeah, mine said get out.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not good.
Whoa! Did you get out?
No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, I had to sit there for the next 5 hours all by myself until my sister woke up and I could call her and tell her because we were trying to get EVPs and I took her
Oh,
for a
yeah.
ride home and kept it rolling.
Mm.
So of course I'm by myself when it says get out, right?
Oh, that's great.
But like I said, right after that happened, I started saying, Hail Mary, Mother,
Oh, yeah,
God,
yeah.
here I am, I'm innocent. I was just
Yeah.
coming in peace. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, at least
Wow.
you did that. That's good.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just read a fascinating article in I think it's called Paranormal Underground about demonology and how that's kind of a thing now. So, and they're learning a lot. Not sure I want to know a lot about it, but I read the article nonetheless. So, I keep my adventures to the critters in the woods, so I can tolerate them. I don't like the critters that go bump in the night inside my own house. So I can take things throwing rocks at me in the woods. It's either a really pissed off raccoon or a squatch, so I can deal with that. The flying squirrels at night.
Either way, right?
Yeah, exactly. The flying squirrels at night on the night camera, though, that's pretty cool. So that was something I hadn't seen.
I have heard of elemental spirits that are in the woods that are like outdoor spirits that are not always friendly.
I don't know about friendly, but I know that the area where we were, there's an elemental spirit that walks up and down an old railroad track with a lantern.
No,
So
that's not an elemental spirit, though. I mean, I'm talking about like earthen spirits that were never people.
oh, like
They're
fairies?
No, they're just of the. I don't know how.
Maybe like low vibrational.
Yeah, low
that.
vibrational of the earth. Not really. They're not demons, but they're not human. It's just like low vibrational spirit or entities. I won't say spirits. Yes, spirits of nature.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know that.
Interesting.
You'll have to do some homework on that. See if you can find me a guest. I'd like to know more about that.
Okay. Donna, do you know much about them, or I'll look for a guest who might know.
Okay. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, because I really don't know that I've heard anything about those.
Okay.
That's kind of cool, though.
Especially if you're not saying like they're evil. Like that's what I've kind of heard about the scary side of what you just said. So yeah, that would be interesting if they're not bad, but they're just not humanly good like that. So that'd be interesting to hear.
I don't know what that means.
Know.
They are fae. Is that you have to translate that for me, or?
I think it's a fairy term.
Yeah, it's kind of like a fairy term.
Oh, okay. So Wendell knows about fairies. Cool. Good to know. All right. So next week, let me pull up my calendar here. Next week, I'll try and get Robin Williams back. We are scheduled to have another movie. It's called The Unabridged Mrs. Vera Daybook. The Vera Sphere is an organically founded community based in and around San Francisco, a space of freedom, creative expression, activism, and support for the LGBTQIA plus community. No gender, no politics, no boundaries. It's all artistic expression. So it was a movie about that. So it's going to be kind of exciting.
Love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. Nikki, and then next is the week after, we're going to try and do some more pictures, right? Is that right?
Yeah, we'll be doing the live portraits.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we'll be doing live portraits on the 22nd, and then
Okay.
I'll actually post about when people can submit their photos.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it'll be a little more efficient than it was the first time, since everybody, kind of knows what we're doing now and stuff. I'll just have you guys send the photos to me, and we'll just pop them off and, go through them, probably rather quickly. It can probably happen for everybody. So I'm hoping to do a lot more than I've done in the past too.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
And that week we are also doing another. We're on our movie run right now, where we have some directors from a movie about a comic book creator that went back old school and was doing it the original way. So we're using the presses and the art boards and stuff. So we'll have them on that show. So that'll be a good show.
Nice.
Nikki, where could they find you, and what do you got coming up?
Well, you can always find me on Facebook. That's the main place that I'll be, and really hoping to kind of branch out a little bit from there and go on to do my astral.baby is the next thing that I'll be talking about here pretty soon coming up, which is finding children that are born in the astral. So that's the next thing I got coming up. There's nothing at astral.baby yet, but you asked me what I had coming up.
Okay.
Other than
Dina?
that, I'm on all the social media, either under Soul Portraits by Spirit or The Angel Advocate. So,
All right.
Cool.
Awesome.
Where are you at, Dina? Where can I find you?
Tomorrow night will be the finale of Big Brother.
That's correct.
Yeah, at 10:30.
Yeah, actually, I think it said at 10:45 because it doesn't
I'm
go off
sorry.
until 10. So yeah.
That's right. It's a long show, so 10:45, or unless it's interrupted by something. But we should
God,
be
I
there
hope not.
10:45. I hope not too. And then Saturday night, Nikki will join us on the Misfits.
Okay.
The wonderful,
well,
beautiful
I'll
Nikki.
try. I'll try.
Oh,
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm actually
Right.
house sitting, and I
You
start
are?
Saturday. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, but
Well,
I
I'm
may
sorry.
be able to still.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
That's
should
okay. Thank you.
shut my mouth. I didn't know if you remembered or not. I'm so sorry. Well, she may or may not be there. But
That's all
anyway,
right.
the rest of us will be there Saturday night at 10. No, excuse me, 9.
9, and that will be live on the radio.
9 o'clock.
Normally we're live on the radio tonight, but Ross was not feeling well, so he took the night off. So
Sorry,
so-
Ross.
get to feeling better, Ross. He was having a tough time over some things, so I hope he gets to feeling better. Okay. Well, yeah, Big Brother tomorrow night and the Misfits Saturday night. I don't think I got any other podcasts coming up. My big hope is that I can get my co-hosts all pushed out to different shows every now and then to talk about what they do and what we do here. So,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, we will be there this weekend on the Misfits. We don't have a topic yet, Dina. You're gonna have to come up with one. So,
I did. You didn't. You smacked me down.
no, I didn't smack you down. I didn't find any joy or happiness, so I'll find something. So
It wasn't about happiness. It was about guilty pleasures. It could be something unhappy.
Ooh.
If you like to stab people pictures in the eyes or something. If that's a guilty pleasure, then so be it.
Okay.
As long as it ain't hurting nobody.
That's right.
Notice how she corrected there.
Yes, you can throw darts at people's pictures. If you don't like them, that's your guilty pleasure, then so be that.
I don't know.
I like it. We should do
I
that.
think
Maybe
it
my-
does, right?
It may be my co-host. I don't know. Good night, everybody. I will talk to you soon.
Yeah, good luck, Glenn.
Good night.
Night.